to the online classroom of Sri Gokulam Public School. I hope you're all doing great and fine. So darlings, without wasting any more time, shall we just quickly get into our classes? Yes, we were discussing a chapter. What was it? Yes, The Address, written by Marga Minko. So quickly let us refresh the points that we had discussed in our previous class. Shall I call out the names? Okay, let's see. We will start with Alan. Yes, Alan, tell me. Whom did the narrator visit? Yes, the narrator visited Mrs. Darling. Who was Mrs. Darling? Mrs. Darling was her mother's friend. There is an address that is being referred to in this chapter. Sri Ram. Tell me, Sri Ram, what is that address that is being referred to in this chapter? It is Marconi Street, number 46. Hisham. Yes, dear, tell me, what kind of reaction did the narrator receive from Mrs. Darling? Was she received friendly or was she received very rudely? Yes, Mrs. Darling gave a very cold reception to the narrator. She was not welcomed in the house. When the narrator rang the doorbell, she held a hand on the door and she refused to recognize her. Also, the narrator had felt that she had even rung the wrong doorbell. And then what happened? Ahmad, you tell me. How did the narrator finally realize that she had approached the right house? Yes, she found that Mrs. Darling was wearing the green knitted cardigan of her mother's, and then she was able to understand that she has reached the right house. Next, what happened? Vismaya, tell me. The narrator had expressed her desire to speak to Mrs. Darling. And what answer did Mrs. Darling give her? She said that, yes dear, you are right. She said that she is very busy and she does not have time to speak to the narrator. Next, quickly tell me 2 incidents that she is recalling about Mrs. Darling. She remembers that when she came back from the university, she found many of her things missing in the house, and her mother informed that Mrs. Darling, an old acquaintance of hers, had visited her and suggested to take care of their things by shifting them from their house to Mrs. Darling's house. Also, at the same time, the narrator recalls that she had met Mrs. Darling one time. She was wearing a brown coat and shapeless hat. But however, since she was not received or welcomed in Mrs. Darling's house, she very disappointingly had to go back to the railway station. We had stopped at this point. Now, let us continue our story. All of you, please write down the important points that I am explaining in the class. So, after the first unsuccessful visit, the narrator thinks about why she had taken such a long time to meet Mrs. Darling and collect back her things. She realizes that the war and the loss of her family had caused great pain and depression in her. She did not have the strength and courage to go back and collect the things from Mrs. Darling. Why didn't she have the strength and courage? All the household items had some special memories attached to it. So by seeing those household items, she would start recollecting those wonderful memories that she had with her family. Since she did not have the strength to remember her lost family, she did not go back to Mrs. Darling's house to collect those things. But after some time, once she was settled and she was starting to live a normal life, we should understand that after a war, people get completely broken and devastated. Devastated means completely shattered. And it takes a very long time for them to come back to normal life. Because there is this horror and pain and depression that they faced during the wartime. So it took a long time for her to come back and be in normal situation. So after she had come into a normal state, she had that sudden curiosity inside her to go back and collect her belongings from Mrs. Darling. So she decides to visit Mrs. Darling for a second time. Now this time when she came to Mrs. Darling's house, she was greeted by Mrs. Darling's young daughter of 15 years. The girl very enthusiastically welcomed narrator and asked her to come inside the house. Once she was inside the house, she noticed that everything in their house, the furniture and all other items in the house were her belongings. The narrator started getting a growing discomfort inside her. Again, why was she having a growing discomfort? The things that they had kept with lot of love and care now was lying in a very disorganized and ugly state that the narrator started feeling a discomfort. There was a muggy smell. Muggy smell means dusty smell, which showed that Mrs. Darling and her family had not given proper care to that furniture. Hence, she did not look around much. When she sat down on a chair and was rubbing her fingers along a wooden tablecloth, she remembered that there was a burned mark on that tablecloth. The young girl offered tea to narrator. When she took out the teapot and the cups, the narrator recognized those utensils as her belongings. She remembered that the teapot had a gold lining on its lid. Unaware of her own words, the narrator says that it looks very nice. The girl tells her that the cutlery means the knives, forks and spoons, were antique pieces. She also shows off by saying that there are many more antique pieces in their house. But the narrator does not give any importance to the young girl's words. Her mind gets filled with many such happy and loving memories of her parents and her childhood. When the memories start flooding inside her, she felt a huge loss and pain. Again, the narrator started to speak. She said that we get so familiar with the common things around us that we do not give any importance to them. Often we forget to understand its value and existence because they have become so much a part of our life. This happens with people and the things around us. Isn't it, children? The people around us, our parents, our siblings, our best friends, they have become so much a part of our daily life that we even forget that these people may or may not be there in our life in future. We always regard these relationships as forever, and we do not give much importance to them. When we feel angry, we shout at them. When we feel disappointed, we yell at them. When we feel happy, we enjoy with them. As our emotions come and go, we share it with them. Because we feel that forever these people are going to be there with us. But imagine a situation that one day our parents may not be with us, our best friends may not be with us, our brothers or sisters may not be with us. How difficult our life would be to move on without these people, with the daily common silly conversations that we have with them. Isn't it going to be very difficult? But as they are with us, we never realize the importance of these people. It is a very natural phenomenon. So similarly, the narrator was feeling a huge loss within her because her parents and the things no longer belonged to her. She had lost all them.